MLB Trade Deadline has come and gone. Chris Honorato and Sean Bagnardi with you here on the News Channel 13, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter pages. It was a wild trade deadline day, man. And you said it in the newsroom, like, isn't it usually kind of quiet? We really overblow it and we don't know what to expect. It more than delivered. Some of the biggest names in baseball are on the move, Bags. Your immediate reaction to what happened late last night into today?
Well, it's just what you said. It's the fact that we're actually seeing a ton of action. We see it a lot in basketball where you've got those teams in contention who say we're just one piece away, right? And if we can add that one big piece or one little thing to put us over the hump, then it's game on and let's go. And how many teams now are we seeing doing that in baseball? And what stands out about this trade deadline is the number of teams involved who really have a legitimate chance, but also the names on the move. We're seeing more of those bigger players. It's not just little pieces. These are big pieces. These are guys who are going to have real implications come playoff time on the move right now. Huge trading deadline.
Couple of teams with like complete sell-offs. That 2016 Chicago Cubs World Series championship team absolutely dismantled. And one of the biggest names from that group is Anthony Rizzo. He's going to the Yanks. Yanks made two big splashes. We've talked so much of this season about how Brian Cashman didn't acquire any left-handed hitting power. Well, he did that at the deadline with Rizzo and Gallo a day earlier than that. So look out short porch at Yankee Stadium for those two guys. And then late up against that 4 o'clock deadline, Andrew Heaney, a pitcher from the Angels who has a lot of talent. Cashman did well today. I've been a big critic of his this season because I didn't feel like this was a winning roster. I didn't feel like it was all Aaron Boone's fault. I put more of it on Cashman because of the way the team was assembled. But now this is a squad. The lineup now, Bags, may be good enough to get to the postseason. Still some serious holes in terms of pitching, both starting and bullpen. But the lineup now has the balance it needed.
Okay, but I've been telling you that the lineup is good enough, and we've seen the lineup be good enough to get them to the playoffs. And the big question has always been for them, are they going to add something that's going to get them over the hump come playoff time? So I'll ask you this. Did today do any of that for you? I mean, let's say they get there. Is it enough now where you think, yes, we can see them in the World Series or win the World Series?
No, I still look, we're going to get to what some of the other deals were. This is nice for the Yankees, but it doesn't put them ahead of the Dodgers. It doesn't, in my mind, put them ahead of the Padres. Oh, by the way, the team that leads that division that the Dodgers and Padres are in, the Giants, they improved today as well. So Yankees have done a little bit, and that's nice, but no, I don't think it makes them necessarily AL pennant contenders and then develop them into actually World Series contenders. But this is a move, okay, where it may not just be about 2021 for them. Rizzo's a free agent at the end of the year, but they don't necessarily have a first baseman going forward. I don't think it's going to be Luke Voigt. So do you sign Rizzo in the offseason? Potentially. Gallo has a year of arbitration after this, so he's an outfield option moving forward as well. The offseason comes, maybe a guy like Giancarlo Stanton, you're able to shed not only that salary, but also the albatross that is in the middle of that lineup in terms of the number of times he strikes out. So these are moves that I think can benefit the Yankees going forward as well. Good enough to win it all in 2021, not for me.
Yeah. So I thought the lineup has been good enough for them to win in the regular season. This helps that. I still don't think they're going to win the division. They're too far back, but now I do like their chances certainly to find their way into a wild card spot and then, be in the mix. But for me, it doesn't put them over the top to then be championship contenders. It's a good day. You'd rather see them making moves than not making moves, because how many teams sit around and do nothing? How many times does your favorite team or my favorite team, we get the deadline day and we think, we're just going to add one or two things today, and it just doesn't happen. So as a fan, you like adding pieces. These are bigger names. I think, strikeouts are an issue for this team, and I don't know that this really helps them overcome a lot of that, but they're going to get some power here, and it helps the lineup. It helps them be a better regular season team. My problem is they're already a good enough regular season team, and this doesn't do quite enough for me to put them in that championship contention.
Before we get to your Mets within that division, the AL East with the Yankees, Blue Jays made a big move. Jose Barrios, starting pitcher from the Twins, he's got one more year of control after this one, and Toronto gives up some really talented prospects in that deal. But a good move for the Blue Jays even into 2022, in my opinion.
And the Red Sox, yeah, go ahead. I was going to say they added Schwarber today, right? So guy who's been hurt, but that's a good move for them too, and another bat, right? Who on a team that's really good right now, that's a nice little addition for them.
Boy, remember when I was dying on yesterday's show?
Oh,
here it comes
again. Here we go again.
Red Sox traded for a reliever too, former Mets pitcher. When you think Mets reliever, who do you think?
John Franco.
No, Hansel Robles.
Oh, jeez.
To Boston.
Oh, come on. Is he going to get suspended
I'm just keeping an eye on Twitter here because even after 4 o'clock, things kind of trickle in.
Yeah.
So we'll keep an eye on that. But Robles to the Red Sox in addition to Schwarber. All right, to your Mets here. And you think Boston wins that division, or is Tampa, which was quiet after the Nelson Cruz deal, are they a contender to win that division for you?
No, I think Boston's going to win the division.
Yeah. Okay, I think so too. Your Metsies, they weren't quiet here. They go out and get Javi Baez and Trevor Williams. Williams will kind of be that long reliever, I would think, out of the bullpen for New York. Baez is the big name here, obviously. He'll play shortstop until Lindor's back, but he'll play second after that.
Yep. So this is good, right? A guy who we know is friends with Lindor, and we expect them to have some fun. If he makes Lindor a better player because he's got a teammate he really enjoys playing with, not that he doesn't enjoy his current teammates, but it's good. I like it. Part of it is a little sad because now I wonder, how does Jeff McNeil fit in here, and where does he go? Do we find him enough at bats? Because to me, he's still a guy who can be and is really good and can be a really important part of this team. But this will be interesting now to see how this plays out. I wanted the team to improve pitching because I feel like that's starting pitching, because that's what I feel like they have some deficiencies. I know Stroman's been good. DeGrom is DeGrom, and we expect him to be back and healthy and be the Cy Young pitcher he is. But I just don't know about Noah Syndergaard. I just don't know about Carrasco. I don't know, is Rich Hill going to be the guy? Do we have enough come playoff time? I hope they make the playoffs. They're in first place right now. I think these moves help that cause. But come playoff time, is there enough in that starting rotation for them to be World Series contenders? I don't know. It's really going to depend on the health. I like the moves today, similar to the Yankees. I think it helps you in areas where, you needed help, maybe not the biggest areas where you needed help. And I don't know that it puts you over the top, but at least you're doing something and you're trying to make a splash. I can't hear you. You muted it so you could cough.
It will energize that Mets clubhouse. There's no doubt about it. Baez and the relationship with Lindor. But Bags, they're all chasing this team. Look at what LA did. Yeah.
So obviously Scherzer was the guy at the head of the class here who we expected to be on the move. You talk about them. Now look, San Francisco is still leading that division, and maybe what they did, and we'll talk about that, is enough to keep them out in front in that division. But the Dodgers now, of course, already World Series contenders, having won the championship. You got Trey Turner now, is another really good bat. This is, to me, now they are the favorites. They are the favorites in all of baseball after today. When you talk about facing Max Scherzer in the playoffs, you can almost, not immediately, but you talk about inserting 2 wins in a best-of-7 game series with that. That's the kind of impact this guy can have on that team. That is put you over the top kind of move, similar to what the Yankees and Mets didn't do. That is doing that for the Dodgers when you could argue they were already at the top and didn't need to go over the top. Now I think they're even farther ahead in that regard.
Yeah, and as they bring in a guy like Trey Turner, Corey Seager, by the way, comes off the injured list today. So they have kind of a similar situation with the Mets, right? You've got a lot of talent. You find a way to play it, and Turner will slide to second base with Justin Turner playing third base. But, oh, by the way, and the Padres were quiet. They added Jake Marisnick. But the team that leads that division is the San Francisco Giants. They go out and get Chris Bryant. Teams are not sitting around like, hey, I hope we're good enough in October to win. They are giving themselves every chance to not only win that great division, the NL West, but then potentially take the pennant too.
Yeah. So as I look at the standings here, they have currently a 3-game lead on the
Yep.
Dodgers. I mean, both these teams and even San Diego, all three are already up at the 60-win mark. So these teams are already elite and now getting better. This, to me, could be enough for them to maintain that small lead, enough for them to win that division. But again, come playoff time,
Dodgers.
I mean, look,
Dodgers.
The Dodgers are just too good now.
Yeah.
So I like the move. They're certainly World Series contenders. They were already. When you look at their record and what they've done in a very difficult division, this only makes them better. But I think the Dodgers won the day and won the deadline.
Won the deadline. Yeah, the Scherzer deal. That did it for you. Just Max joining that rotation.
Yeah, and Trey Turner's a good player. So, yes.
White Sox got Craig Kimbrell. That bullpen in Chicago, which is already great, becomes even better. Give me your thoughts on Russell Westbrook to the Lakers. We're talking trades.
Yeah, so as obviously a big Brooklyn Nets fan, this is the other big three, right? Now you got Westbrook, Davis, and LeBron out west. And as these teams try to fill out their rosters now to put them over the hump of championship contention, we thought maybe we'd see them both in the finals this year. We didn't see either of them in the finals this year. Now they're going to be looking to round out their rosters and surround the big three. I mean, they already both have. The Lakers are going to be doing more filling out of the rosters, and that's, had a little bit more in place at the moment. But there are guys out there that are going to be those one or two guys who they're going to try to pull in at the veterans minimum to just round out the team, guys who want to go for a title. I don't expect them to be quite done yet, and I don't expect Brooklyn or some other contenders to just sit pat, having seen now what the Lakers did. So it'll be interesting to see what the rosters are like on opening day. But to me, this propels them right to the top because he's a good fit.
I was just going to ask you, does this fit? Does this make sense? Yeah, there's a ton of star power, but does this make sense?
He does. He makes sense for them because, he's going to be a guy who can go down there and get his rebounds. Of course, he's a triple-double threat at all times, but Davis is a guy who can stretch the floor. So you can kind of have those opposite roles there at times when you need, but they're all so versatile. They're going to play well together. This is about winning a championship, right? Russ wants a ring, and LeBron and AD want to get back there, especially after the way things played out this last season. So they're going to be motivated. They're going to be ready. They're well coached. They'll fill out the roster. To me, this puts them right back at the top in the Western Conference. And not that they weren't there already. I mean, it would have been nice to see AD healthy, certainly for the postseason. But championship 2 years ago, this year is what it is. LeBron will get more rest now because of the early exit. They'll be healthy and ready to go. They're going to be right there at the end of the year. I hope it's a healthy Nets and a healthy Lakers in the finals, because with those rosters, I mean, and those markets, it's a dream matchup for the NBA.
And Westbrook goes back home too, right? He's from that area. Nobody's putting the Jazz or the Suns or the Blazers or who else am I missing out west ahead of the Lakers at this point.
Let me ask you this, and maybe this answered it already. Maybe this is the answer for LeBron. But if you're LeBron, would you rather have Westbrook as your big three with Anthony Davis, or would you have rather had Chris Paul?
Chris Paul.
Me too. But I think maybe if LeBron wanted Chris Paul, wouldn't it be Chris Paul and not Westbrook?
Yeah, maybe. But Paul, the free agent, Westbrook, a trade. You move some of the salary that offsets a little bit, and Westbrook's also younger.
He is,
huge factor.
It's a better piece for the Lakers long term. But I wonder if going for just one shot at it, one ring, and that's not the place LeBron is in right now. He's got more than one good year left in him. But for 1 year, I would have rather had Chris Paul. But long term, certainly that's a better move for the Lakers to bring in Westbrook, and it still has them right in contention to win next season anyway. So a good deal all around for them. And as a Nets fan, that worries me. It worries me because it's another team that was already really good, who you were watching to compete with for a championship, that just got better.
I hate to say it about the Bucks and the Suns, but that's the matchup in the finals we all deserved this year. I hope we get it next year. Keep everybody healthy. The regular season doesn't matter in the NBA. Let's keep everybody healthy. Let's get to the playoffs that way. All right, Bags. Wild MLB trade deadline. You say Dodgers won the deadline with the Scherzer and Trey Turner deal. I can't disagree. You have to like what the Yankees did, though, to at least be aggressive to add some left-handed power bats. And as a Mets fan, I'd be energized too. Our news directors, you should have seen him in the newsroom. I mean, this is usually a really low-energy, low-key guy who just doesn't talk a lot. He's very, and
Oh, yeah, that's him. Yeah. No,
and now he's through the roof.
Super high energy, and
he wakes up through the roof.
He loved it. Good. I'm glad. The biggest thing for me is, what does it do for Lindor? Is it going to somehow make Lindor maybe a better player because of, their friends are going to be, there's going to be more excitement, this different kind of energy level on the field. Does that get Lindor now to the level of what we thought we were maybe going to get when he comes back, which is a all-time superstar type of talent? So yes, it's a good move. The upside is certainly there. Again, VR, Jeff McNeil, pieces who I like to see from the Mets, who maybe they're going to now have to figure out ways to fit them in. But all in all, I'd rather have Baez than not. I think it's a good addition.
All right, we're with you live every Thursday morning on the News Channel 13, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube pages. You can catch us Saturday nights, though, as well on my 6:30. So if you missed yesterday's show, watch us Saturday night on my 4s. We talk about the Aaron Rodgers press conference, which I loved. Simone Biles withdrawing from Olympic competition. And we talk with wrestler Apollo Crews. He's the Intercontinental Champ in the WWE, coming to the Capital Region in September. Hope you come back and hang out with us Thursday mornings right here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Bags, catch up with you back in the newsroom. That'll do it for our MLB Trade Deadline reaction.